Good morning, everyone. Today is March 20th, and for the selective kids, there are only 5 weeks left until the official exam. As for the OC kids, they have 6 weeks left before their exam. So many parents and children have been asking me during these final 5 to 6 weeks how they can better help their children prepare for the exams. There are many methods out there, but here I'd like to recommend one that I personally find most effective. This isn't just for this exam. I believe it's the most helpful approach for studying other subjects in the future as well. We need to realize that when it comes to learning, doing a massive amount of practice problems might help a bit with grades, but it's definitely not the best way. In a sense, this method can most quickly kill off whatever little interest a child has left in the subject. So I always recommend learning from your mistakes. Learning from your mistake is the most efficient way to study. That is the most effective. That's why I've actually mentioned in previous videos that the final period should be used for what? For summarizing your own mistake book. This mistake book is actually the best study guide in the world, specifically tailored to a child's weak points. So, how do you organize a mistake book? Well, in class, we categorize thinking skills by different question types, starting with broad categories, then subtypes, looking at the knowledge points and methods involved in each. When children are learning in class, they generally feel like, oh, I've got it, I know what to do now. But when they actually encounter different problems, there are always some aspects where they don't perform quite as well. They'll make mistakes, and that's when they need to categorize and summarize their errors. Later on, I'll post a broad outline for this categorization and summary in our class group. So, if any parents want to use this outline to help their children categorize and summarize, I think it's the best approach. Let me give you an example. This is a mistake book my daughter made several years ago. I can't remember exactly how many, but quite a few years back. As you can see, this requires parents to provide some assistance to their children. First of all, in our term, there are 3 assignments every week, so over 10 weeks. That should be 30 assignments. With 30 assignments, if a child averages 10 mistakes per assignment, and it might be even more than that, then among those 10 mistakes, we have 300 mistakes. For these 300 mistakes, the very first step I want the child to take is to categorize them based on the question types we discussed in class. This categorization is what I just mentioned, our broad question types. For example, the first type is argument, right? And the second type is conditional statement. Let's see how my daughter did it back then, okay? Take a look. Then the third type of question, graphic reasoning. All right, so based on these major question types, categorize them one by one very clearly. Then pick out your incorrect answers for each type and identify what kind of question each one is. This step must be done by the child. Parents cannot do it for them, because all the methods and techniques we discuss in class are specific to certain question types. So this is necessary. Actually, children usually don't have much trouble with this. They are fully capable of looking at a question, whether it's from our homework or other exercises you give them, and identifying what type of question it is. So the first step, which the child needs to do, is to identify the question type. Then for the second step, parents will need to help out. Now, each week's incorrect questions will be sent to everyone via email, so you'll need to print that email out. After the child has picked them out, I hope you can help them cut and paste these questions. Some parents use digital formats, so it might not be as much trouble. As for me, I'm a bit old-fashioned. I still prefer using paper and pens. So after my child finished picking them, I helped her cut them out, and then I used loose leaf paper to paste them in, page by page. Yeah, paste them in and categorize them properly. So that's the second step. We parents should help the children with these more time-consuming tasks. The third step is for the child. They need to conduct a thorough review of the questions. The review consists of 3 parts. First, what is the correct way to solve this problem? Why is the correct answer actually correct? Second, you need to analyze, why did you get this particular question wrong? Was it perhaps because I did not fully understand the method at that time? Or did I actually know the method but encountered some issues or difficulties while trying to apply it? Right, that's the second part to summarize. The third part isn't mandatory, but as the child summarizes these mistakes, they'll notice, hey, this question is actually very similar to another one. Then you should make a note of that. For example, if question 1 is similar to questions 5 and 7, then note down 5 and 7 right there. This has a benefit. Through this kind of categorization and analysis, the child will quickly realize that in certain types of questions, they always make the same mistakes. These are actually the child's weaknesses. That's where the problem lies. Once we've identified the problem, solving it becomes quite simple. Go back to the notes from that day, the relevant notes from that specific lesson, and review that content. Then go over the questions from that homework assignment once more. If there are any issues, feel free to ask me anytime. Ask the teacher, "Teacher, I understand what happened with this question. but I still don't know why this is the correct answer. You're welcome to ask me. Then I'll tell the child, oh, this is actually your issue. Once we resolve it, the child's grades will improve. And I recommend that everyone starts doing this right now. How long should you keep it up? You can continue right until the day before the child's exam. This is something you can keep doing, categorizing all their problems, whether they're from my materials or from elsewhere. It's the same for math. Math has major knowledge points, so categorize those. Later, I'll also create a comprehensive list for math and post it in our selection group for your reference. Use these broad categories to let the kids identify where each problem fits. This is a method I've always advocated for as the most effective way to learn. Speaking of which, let me digress a bit. I think, of course, our training is meant to help kids improve their test scores. There's no doubt about that. Both parents and we share this goal. But beyond that, it's not just about getting a good grade on this one exam. What we also hope for is to truly improve a child's study habits and learning abilities. Once they've truly developed good study habits, their grades will naturally soar. So, which is the root and which is the branch? Which is the cause and which is the effect? I don't think I need to say more on this, as parents all understand. We mostly want to help kids build good study habits and master effective learning methods. With the support of such correct methods, I believe that the improvement in a child's grades is well, it will happen naturally. All right, so here, let me tell you, creating a mistake log like this, making such a mistake log, is very, very important. I've actually mentioned this repeatedly in my previous videos. I'm not sure if you've seen them, so let me emphasize it again. Use this method to create a mistake log, specifically tailored to your child's weaknesses. Then, if the child has extra time, don't make them do more new problems. Have them review these mistakes thoroughly. That's where they need the most improvement. All right, that's all for this video. I hope this helps with your pre-exam preparations. Thank you, everyone.